Pumping the brakes on divorce or go ahead and finalize this separation? I don't know what to do. Context. Both roughly 40 years old, 2 kids elementary age, house in the suburbs, typical suburban family. About 6 months ago, my wife came to me and said, I want a divorce. No chance of reconciliation, no doubt in her mind. But peaceful, and I'll be fair, it was peaceful, it was respectful. There was no infidelity, there wasn't even much tension or drama to it. To be blunt, I think we've both been unhappy a long time. Long list of, you don't do this, countered by, well, you don't do that. We both contributed to the problems. It just wasn't working. So she came up with a plan and I agreed to it. Told our friends and family what's happening, including our kids. Totally embarrassing and humiliating to go through that. Sold the old house and moved to an apartment, while she bought a more modest home she could afford. We settled on a parenting/custody arrangement and child support admin. No lawyers, all mediated, all relatively peaceful. I have the kids about a third of the time, mostly weekends, because I work full-time in an office while she works part-time from home and has unlimited flexibility. All of this has pretty much nuked my life. I feel shame around everyone I know, like it's a reflection on me and what I didn't do right. I sold a house I loved, in a neighborhood I loved, with neighbors I loved and hung out with all the time. I radically downsized my life in a moving process, trashed tons of old memorabilia and collectibles, some of which I regret. But knowing I would move to an apartment, I didn't feel like I could or should take much with me. I was sad to let go of so much along the way. But I've built a new, clean, simple lifestyle and I really like where I am now. The changes to her life? Not so great. Single mom and she's got custody 2/3 of the time because of her job situation. I pay fairly healthy child support payments because I was the breadwinner, but it still sets her up for tight finances. She's frustrated with how much work the kids are. I think she forgets that I did all the cooking. She barely knows how. A lot of the housework, and was the main financial provider. She has very little free time now. And her place is a mess, still living out of boxes and suitcases. She's also very angry that I've moved on cleanly and simply and resettled so quickly. And now she wants to work on things, see if we can reconcile. We have the draft of the final separation agreement. We just haven't signed it yet. The state we live in requires one of those live apart and wait 12 months things before a divorce can be final. On the one hand, that's my wife, the mother of my children. Of course I still love her, but I also acknowledge the old problems haven't been addressed at all. I see no evidence things have changed, only an acknowledgement that she wants to. But how does that even work when I'm living apart and we spend no time together? But in fairness, she didn't cross any boundaries like cheating or spending a ton of stupid money. She didn't trash me behind my back. All that to say, no red lines were crossed for me. On the other hand, a life I enjoyed has been nuked. I've moved away from a place I loved and let go of things I didn't want to. Shouldn't have had to. She created this mess entirely because she skipped over the part where you can get marriage counseling and moved straight on to giving up on us. She had some trauma during COVID and how that impacted her life, but our marriage was outside of that. I think she projected a lot of non-related problems in her life into the marriage. She is asked to go to counseling and kinda started to get into some of the things we could work on, but she seems to gloss over the parts where she's nuked a life I enjoyed. Acts like I can just move into her new place and it's no big deal. But let's definitely focus on how we both got us into this mess. I just have a hard time accepting that premise. We both made our marriage less than ideal, but only one of us totally ruined our situation. We were just about to sign the final separation paperwork. I'm not sure if I still should. Feels like I'm slamming a door in her face when I'm open to counseling. Yet at the same time, if we can't work things out, it feels like we're at the clock and everything by not signing. And my confidence is low because I still don't think she's accepting how much she's escalated the situation by handling this so poorly. Sorry for length. I appreciate the sanity check. I appreciate perspectives that challenge me to think about things differently, so fire away. Now for the top advice. Sign it and be done. She doesn't want you. She just doesn't like how much harder her life is without you there to pick up the slack for her. She's been selfish throughout the entire thing. Only thinking about herself, what she wants, what she's had to deal with since the separation she asked for. She has done all of the taking and none of the giving or trying. This isn't a relationship worth trying to save because she doesn't care about anyone but herself. She's been selfish throughout the entire thing. Totally fair and accurate statement. But it is selfish of me to not consider that perhaps she can change, improve, get better, or that there are significant impacts to my children. Those kids are my sacred responsibility in life. Sure, my marriage wasn't perfect, but it also wasn't hostile or violent, and my kids had it great. I don't want to give them a fake life, but I struggle to see how this doesn't hurt my relationship with them. I see them so much less. Yet at the same time, I see no path to keeping my job and doing more than I am. Catch-22. From what I can read, Opie, be very careful. If you do want to reconcile, make sure it's a two people's effort. She only realized what she lost once she was alone and pretty much broke. I'm not saying she only wants you for that, but I think it plays a role. Couples counseling seems like a great idea to resolve the problems you guys have, and if you do end up reconciling, maybe make her compromise so you don't do everything around house. Good luck, Opie. She only realized what she lost once she was alone and pretty much broke. Does it make me a bad person that I want her to live in this reality for more than the month that has passed? I simultaneously worry that the longer it goes on, the more she'll build resentment and slash or move on. Then again, wake-up calls are needed. I'm enjoying my version of life a lot. Also problematic in its own way. I think that the last two sentences are the ones that would give me pause. It sounds like you were kind of happier now that you were apart. The biggest regrets I've seen in your post aren't not being with her, but selling your house and downsizing. You seem almost happier to be living on your own. Marital counseling is great and all, but it seems like the ship has almost sailed. Do you have a signed separation agreement? If the agreement is final and enforceable, it may make sense to give the counseling a shot before finalizing the divorce, but you don't want to be in a worse position for having tried to work things out. Drafted but unsigned, and thus the separation clock hasn't started, and it's entirely unenforceable. That's part of why I do want to sign it. Protect myself, pen to paper on commitments. Can't walk it back or change it if counseling doesn't work. Next story is titled, My wife locked me out of the house on our anniversary night because she didn't like the gift I brought for her. 4 days ago was mine, male 30, and my wife's, female 27, third wedding anniversary. She loves jewelry, and every year I'd bring her jewelry. But this year I've been dealing with debts and spent all my money to fix my car that was broken for 4 months. I didn't buy her jewelry this year, but I did buy her something that I thought she'd find nice, which is a vase that cost me about $65. We were having a small celebration on dinner. I got home in the evening and found her setting up dinner table with candles and flowers. She was dressed nicely, while I was just wearing my work clothes, which she found okay-ish. After dinner, she gave me a gift which was a $45 shoes. I handed her the gift I got her, and a smile quickly disappeared from her face. She asked why I didn't get her a piece of jewelry, and I said I didn't have enough money to buy a decent piece and this stuff is expensive. She got upset, saying I always get her jewelry, but I explained money was tight and car needed fixing. She remained upset for a while, then went back to normal. Later she asked if I could take the trash out and I agreed. I placed a trash bag outside, then was headed back inside, but the door was locked. I kept moving the doorknob, but it was obviously locked, which got me hella confused. I didn't have a copy of the key on me, so I called my wife to let her know I was outside and the door was somehow locked, but she hung up. Then showed up from the window and shouted that I should stay outside after I made her an afterthought, and prioritize my car over her and getting her a vase. I was stunned. I asked if she deliberately locked the door, and she said yes, to teach you a lesson. I told her to quit messing around and open the door, but she refused, saying that she made dinner, set up romantic atmosphere, dressed nicely for me, and made effort for our wedding anniversary. But I didn't do half of the things she's done and didn't get her the gift she wanted. So for that, I should spend a night somewhere else. I lashed out and called her petty to lock me out of my own house over a piece of jewelry. She told me that I should get a hotel room and go F myself, and I angrily responded that I'd gladly do so. But I ended up sleeping in the car since the garage was locked as well. The next day, she complained about how I wronged her, acted rudely by lashing out and wanted an apology. But I haven't apologized. Now she's cold-shouldering me. Wow. Sometimes I think my marriage is awful. And then I come here and then I'm like, meh, I'm fine. Yep, makes me appreciate what I have when I see what some people put up with. I kinda use this sub the same way. Love providing advice, but I often think, as horrible as things get for me sometimes, at least I'm not that guy/girl. Now download some generic divorce documents off the internet and paper mache the vase in them. And put them in a jewelry gift box. Say, "Sorry, honey, I was so stupid. Thank you for teaching me that lesson. I went and got you the gift you truly deserve." The entitlement is strong in this one. I predict you won't make it to your 4th anniversary. They will, because Opie doesn't appear to have a spine. This crap shouldn't be put up with by anyone. She'll continue to whip him into submission for the next 10 years until she sucks him dry of every ounce of his humanity. I hope you return the vase. Return the vase? Oof. Should be asking if can he return the wife instead. It's obviously an overreaction on her part, but we only have a side of the story. A lot of Reddit is, "OMG, look what my partner did. That was way over the top. So ridiculous, right?" When realistically, people tend to lash out in over-the-top ways when they've been provoked. Maybe that's not the case here. Maybe Opie's a perfect husband, but it's pretty awful to have your wife set everything up for the anniversary, make dinner, get dressed up for you, and then you get her a vase. A vase isn't for her, it's for the house. There's cheaper, decent quality jewelry you can get for $60, or shoes, or anything else really. I'd be pretty pissed if my significant other gave me furniture as an anniversary gift too. Is there nothing else you know about your wife besides she likes jewelry? No hobbies, collectibles, guilty pleasures? Honestly, I can hardly think of a crappier gift than a damn vase unless she specifically collects them or something. It's like some generic woman gift. You could get her a gift certificate for a massage or a spa day. Did you get her flowers or a card? Why did she do 90% of the work and you showed up with a vase? I get that money's a hard thing to work around, but you can make it work. If you truly cared and felt terrible about the lack of money, a heartfelt card can mean a lot. I genuinely hope you at least gave her that. Now for the last story. Am I making a mistake or did I outgrow my husband? I, 33 female, met my 36 male husband when I was 20 and he was 23. Over the past years, I finished school, become reasonably successful in my career, and identified my goals. During the same time, he has been in retail management and slowly getting promoted within his company at a store level. He has goals for promotion, but hasn't been interested in anything more, either professionally or personally. He is kind and supportive, but he does not understand what I do, does not ask me about my day, finds it hard to have deeper conversations about our future, and isn't interested in seeking higher education because he doesn't know what to do, but hasn't attempted to research or explore his options. Over the past few years, I've found myself having to remind him of small things. Some things consistent with ADHD, others not, like basic household chores, following through with the things he offered to do, or helping our families with the things he promised. When I try to have conversations in our future or his goals, it's vague and I have to pull information from him. When we first met, his kindness and flexible demeanor were positive attributes, but now I feel like I have to be the one to guide our future without any input from my partner. The decision fatigue from work makes this overwhelming, and honestly, not what I need anymore. All of this has been getting to me, and I feel more like his mother than his spouse. We spoke about what I need, conversations, household support, and feeling like I have grown and evolved into a different version of myself that I really like, and he only stated that he thought I was happy and feels blindsided. I asked him to show me he is willing and capable of growth, but I'm already questioning his ability for sustained change. I don't know what to do, other than admit I haven't been happy the last few years and I want out. Am I being too harsh? Or am I just realizing that I've grown into a different person in the 13 years we've been together, while my husband has remained all but the same? Now for the top advice. I feel more like his mother than his spouse. That's a big issue, and a huge reason people end up divorcing their partners. If you think it is worth giving your relationship a final chance, you could try suggesting couples counseling. But sometimes people just grow in ways that are mutually incompatible, and that's okay too. It sounds like you have already checked out of the marriage, and there's nothing wrong with that. Guy in a relationship makes you happy every day, probably enabling you to be the best you can be in your career. And once you get to a good level of success, you see him as beneath you. Why do you care if he goes back to school for higher education? Doesn't seem like you even know what he would go for. His current career path is taking him toward corporate retail, and that's a decent path with good money. I guess a business degree would help with that. Wonder how much time he would have for you during a full-time job and degree. Does your idea of a relationship look like two people constantly moving up in their career at the same pace? Does it sound like you have much time for each other? Maybe your idea is that the man carries the woman financially, and you're disappointed that you make more. Don't even know if you do actually. Maybe you just don't like his job. You didn't outgrow him. You grew an insufferable ego. I think it might go beyond this. Your post resonates a lot with me. I had a boyfriend in high school and a bit after who was very nice. He was always proud of me. I'm going to college, I just got a new job, I'm so smart. He would really build me up, but he never did anything to improve himself. He was content with where he was in life, but proud of me for doing better. He would often say I was out of his league, which was when I had to encourage him and help his self-confidence. He would joke about how I'm going to be the breadwinner. He was perfectly happy already, while I was still striving to do better. I was ambitious and driven. He was happy living in his mom's house. He seemed happy I would be the breadwinner so he wouldn't have to work so hard. I decided that might be a fundamental incompatibility and ended the relationship. From what I hear, he found a girlfriend a few months later. They're married. They have a toddler, they live in her mom's basement, they have 2 pretty nice vehicles, a muscle car and a pickup truck, both pricey models. Knowing the jobs they have, their household income is probably half of my individual income. I'm married. Husband and I are happily child-free. Live in our own condo, plus have a progress into a down payment. Single vehicle between the 2 of us that is nice quality and has many features, but is not flashy. We have both been promoted at work every 1 to 2 years, and our income reflects that. I know I come off as a braggart, and I'm sorry for that. But my point is that my ex is very happy with his life, and I'm very happy with mine. They're diametrically opposed though. I wish I could be happy with what I have the way he is, but I'm not. And that has driven me to improve myself constantly. I'm happier for it, and I'm very proud of what I have accomplished. But I wouldn't have been happy if I had tried to do this with him. I would have felt like I was dragging a dead weight, and he would be unfulfilled that I never want to bear children and stop working so hard to spend quality time with him and a kid. We wanted different things. Our ideal life looked very different, even if he said what I wanted to hear to avoid losing me.